Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here, Throwback Thursday day today, and look what we've got. 1969 Triumph Trident, Wahoo! This is an absolutely amazing thing. I've been looking for one of these for a long time. They had one in here a while back, and I missed my opportunity to get a video of it. And what it is a 1969 Triumph Trident. That's the first year they made them. They only made these for about 7 years, 69 to 75 I believe. And the first couple of years they had this styling that was very unique for that particular motorcycle. But and that's the you know, the shoebox tank, the boxy side covers, and then these, they call them the ray gun or the Flash Gordon mufflers. Very interesting, very historic motorcycle. They made about 27,000 of these, 27,500 I think, in the Triumph branding. And so what is it exactly? In its day, it was one of the fastest 750s you could buy, if it wasn't actually the fastest one. It's a 741cc overhead valve, triple, 3-cylinder. It's sporting three Amal carburetors, 326 millimeter carburetors, I believe. 4-speed right side shift. Kickstart only on this one. At least I could not find a starter nor a starter button. Just a beautiful thing. Double row chain for the primary. Dry clutch. Single plate dry clutch. Final drive is chain. A lot of the pictures that I found would indicate that this was at least the right color and style for the original bike. I don't know if this is original paint. It looks like it's original paint, but hard to say. Beautiful thing. These had this engine produced had 9-to-1 compression. It produced about 58 horsepower. And when I was younger, I had a friend that had one of these, the 70s era ones, and the 74 or 5, I think they started. They had a 5-speed transmission in them and a little more, better brakes and all that. Disc brakes anyway. I don't know if they're better, but they're disc. But the thing would really move. They had a claim top speed of 120, and I think his would go every bit of that. So very interesting in that way. Just a beautiful thing, by the way. We were sitting on it, pushing it around. It's got a 32-inch seat, and it does feel very wide for some reason, even though it doesn't look that wide from here, but it must be the side covers. Brake on the left side, drum brake on the rear. A very thin drum brake on the rear. I always get a kick out of that compared to our modern bikes. And of course, a drum on the front. I think the rear was a 7 and the front was an 8, or maybe it's the other way around, but I always love this styling, this little air inlet. Some of them have little scoops on here. Now this would indicate a dual leading shoe configuration. I couldn't find information on the size of the tubes or the amount of travel. I think I did find something for ground clearance. Looks like about 6.5 inches of ground clearance, which is pretty good. The bike itself was supposed to weigh about 460 pounds. That's 212 kilos, 209 kilos. I don't know if that's dry or wet. I'm going to assume that that's dry weight. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, so let's take a look at it. We'll just start with the front. Nice spoked wheels. This incredibly good looking, I find these, good looking brake system. They look so complicated compared to our modern disc. Beautiful steel fenders with these chrome brackets. Boots on the forks. Everything's metal, of course. Well, this feels like rubberized, maybe. Over here it's got the oil cooler. These engines had a new style of oil pump, and they pumped the oil apparently 3 times faster than the old pump, and they had to put an oil cooler on. Apparently the oil was going through the engine so fast. I read this. It seems hard to believe, but it said the oil was going through the engine so fast that it just didn't have time to cool properly, so they had to put a big old oil cooler on it. 3 cylinders, so 3 spark plugs, 3 coils. I understand that there's 3 coils and 3 sets of points also, so I can't see any of that right now. The ignition probably up under, I don't know where it's at. I don't know what the tank size is. Couldn't find that information either. Here's the horn, I believe. Tubular swing arm. You know, tube steel frame. If you look at this, this is the Trident model. It's got the very vertical cylinders. If you come over here to the BSA models, they've got a couple of those here. See how they're canted forward? I think that's a 15-degree difference, even though it's roughly the same engine. You know, but okay. So looking at this is the cam chest. So crankshaft, cam chest, two cams right here. Points would be in here. These, you know, push rod probably in the centers over here. Yeah, right here. So one of these would have two push rods and the other would have a single going up. Same in the rear. External oil lines, I always love these. You know, I'm sure they were a problem back in the day, you know, keeping oil, like on my Harley, you know, all the external oil lines. At some point one of them will leak and oil seems to make a mess when it does that. Looks like an oil sump right under here somewhere. I don't know how to get the seat off, or I would do that. Already talked about the back, you know, the back end and how that looks. Like I said, they haven't had a chance to clean this one up yet, so they just got this in yesterday. Oh, little chrome on the front wheel there. I don't know, I suppose that's the ignition right there. Looking up here, we've got, not sure what that is. Maybe a horn here. The clutch on this side. Brake, of course. Fuel. Speedo on the left. Tach on the right. Says 70,000. Wow, that's amazing if that's accurate. Steering dampener right here. Looks like a fork lock right there. That's kind of interesting. I gotta see this thing tore apart. Very interesting looking bike. Get it down. Twin shocks, coil over on the back. I don't know if they're adjustable. I don't see any adjustment. Looks like there's an alternate position to put the shock. Maybe this is how you get the seat off, but we won't do that today. Isn't that just a gorgeous thing? I love the stripe, you know, the blue with the black stripe. Very interesting looking bike. Very interesting indeed. So that's the Trident, the Triumph Trident model. Over here are the Rockets, these two here. We'll do a video on one of those later. The original Rocket 3. Look at that painted frame. The frames are also different, by the way, from the Rockets to the Tridents. There were some significant changes apparently. And there were enough little things that were different on them that made them, you know, they're the same, but they're not the same. You know, it wasn't just a rebadging game. It was actually a little more than that. And very interesting indeed. And then if we jump over here to, I think this is a 96 Trident 900. Yeah, 1996 Trident 900. We'll try to get it right on that one here soon. But that's 100 horsepower and almost 60 foot-pounds of torque, I think. So that's a real modern screamer. But anyway, just a very interesting, nifty motorcycle. I can't wait to see this thing running. And kickstart, you know, I pointed that out already. Imagine having to kickstart one of these. Just a gorgeous thing, gorgeous. Let's take a look at this real quick before we. So, 3 cylinders, but 4 pipes. The center pipe was split over the frame, around the frame down tube. Isn't that some? Throwback. Okay guys, Fuzzy Biker here. We're at Throwback Thursday. Y'all get out there and ride your bikes. Life's too short not to. Wahoo!